Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Drama Spot. It's Miss Liz, and I'm going to talk to you today about our core skill of storytelling. Storytelling is one of those skills that we use sneakily in everyday life. You probably don't think about how often you rely on storytelling. Storytelling is more than just reciting the facts of an event that happened or a fictional event that may have happened. It is about taking your audience or your listeners along on a journey, making sure that they are starting at the beginning, going through a process, and ending up wherever you want them to end up. This can manifest in work when you have to give a presentation, or at school when you're giving a presentation, when you've got some information that you need to convince other people of. You want to start at the beginning so that they are primed and ready to receive the information you're going to give them. And then you want to deliver the information in a way that is compelling. You want to use your speech, your voice, your body language, all of these skills to make sure that they are following along on this journey, that they are going along with you, and that they are going to end up at the end of your presentation with the conclusion or the question or the key takeaway that you want them to have. And it's not just when you are standing up giving a formal presentation in front of people that you use your storytelling skills. You use these skills anytime you need to persuade somebody of something. I mean, think about it. If you ever have to convince your spouse or your kids or your friend to do something that they don't want to do, the most effective way to do that is to take them on the journey so that they end up at the conclusion that you want them to end up at. That's what storytelling is. It is ushering your audience along on this emotional journey so that they end up where you want them to end up. In theater, we tell stories through creating convincing characters and setting the stage so that the audience feels really immersed in whatever it is that they're watching. Setting a space where the audience can suspend their disbelief and can willingly go along whatever this journey is that we're taking them on. It's really not all that different than standing up in a boardroom and giving a presentation. At the Drama Spot in class, we'll be looking at the basics of storytelling, the fact that stories all have a structure, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Then we'll dive a little bit deeper and look at the other elements that go into a story, the characters, the setting, the conflict. And then we'll look at how to make all of those things interesting, how to convey all of that to an audience in a way that keeps them engaged and keeps them activated. And of course, we will play a ton of games along the way. And I've got a couple of my favorites that you can use at home with kids of any age. For older kids, a game you might already be familiar with, One Word Story, is a great way to pass some time while waiting in line or in the car, or just a way to kind of create some conversation. It's pretty self explanatory. You go back and forth one at a time, saying one word, and you try to tell a story saying just one word at a time. Here's a great game for middle schoolers to kind of activate that competitive streak that middle schoolers tend to have. Two Truths and a Lie, hot seat version. Just like in the game Two Truths and a Lie, the person whose turn it is will come up with some things that are true about them and some things that are not true about them. Then they sit in one chair and tell you one set of facts. And then they sit in another chair and tell you the other set of facts. And you have to try and figure out which chair tells the truth and which chair is lying. And now here's the twist. You can ask them questions and they can switch chairs and you can interview the person in each chair to try and get at the bottom of who's telling the truth and who's lying. This makes kids really have to keep their stories straight and think clearly about the character that they are trying to portray, even if that character is themselves. As we get down into the younger ages, there's a really fun activity that we do with our younger elementary aged kids called Rainstorm. And this doesn't involve any talking, it's all storytelling through sound. And what you do is you sit around a table, or you can even just do it on your lap, on your legs, and everybody together creates the sounds of a rainstorm. You can start with snapping. Everybody's snapping and it just sounds like gentle rain falling, and then you're drumming your fingertips on the table and the rain is getting heavier, and then you're pounding on the table and everybody's pounding on the table and it's really really loud, and then you gentle up again and the rain starts to end and you go back to your snaps, and then shh, and then it's end. And it's a really fun way to activate storytelling in a very different capacity than just using our words. And then finally, for the youngest kids, and even for the older kids too, tried and true read alouds. They're wonderful. They do a lot of heavy lifting work for us as parents and educators and those who are invested in developing brains. Read alouds do so much for developing brains. They model storytelling and speech. They promote literacy. They activate a love of learning and a development of curiosity and intrigue. Reading aloud to kids is one of the greatest things that you can do. And it's fun. And it's a great way to tell stories together. So I hope that this gave you a couple of ideas of how to promote storytelling at home and gave you a different appreciation for the art and skill of storytelling. Thank you so much for tuning in this time at the Drama Spot, and I'll see you next time. Bye.